Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful time of the year, so I thought we'd do an autumn tree, really brilliant, bright orange tree here. So, all right, we'll sketch it in. I'm sketching, and there's a stone fence in front, which is nice, and I have a tendency to forget this stuff and paint all over it. So I'm sketching it in. There's not much to this as far as drawing, so uh, sketch in what you need. As I say, I'm doing this little fence, and then there's a row of rocks that big boulders that are sort of set up next to the fence. Try not to make them all the same. And then the big tree is here. Nice, this gives you a nice placement of your shapes. So, okay, and don't forget to, very important, I'm making a note of the sky holes in the tree. Very important because I tend to forget them and paint over them, but they're very important. I'm going to put some little blue paint in there. All right, I did the sky with a phthalo blue, and as I say, I'm just touching those sky holes. While it's still wet, I'm just running some raw sienna in the background there for the field, and then a little cobalt blue mixed into that for those background trees. And then I'm dropping some raw sienna on the top of those trees to create a nice distant field and trees. Okay, if you want, you can take a tissue or towel and tap out some clouds while the sky is still wet. Keep the edges nice and soft. Put in as many as you like. Okay, beautiful autumn day. Okay, all right, so I'm going to work on that orange tree right away. I'm going to take some, I actually have Windsor yellow here, which I never use, but somebody gave me a tube, and it's a nice bright yellow. I thought I'd try it on this tree. So paint the whole tree, obviously around the sky holes, and then I'm dropping cad orange on the whole thing and taking some very strong cad orange around the sky holes, reshaping some of them. It's very dark in there, so that there's no light getting inside those sky holes. It gives you some nice depth to your tree. And then take a tissue and pad out your branches, the roundness of your branches. Just go over your whole tree. And that's a lot of this painting, putting the paint on, taking it off, building that nice rich color in the tree, going back, dropping some light orange on everything, maybe skipping around some of the highlights of the branches. So you keep doing this, putting on, taking it off, building that nice rich color, until you're happy. But the base of that yellow, that strong yellow underneath, is so important because that's what you keep bringing back here. You can't do too much of it. It's just like you keep going on, keep doing it. You can see it starting to form now. Just stay with it and keep it going. All right, I'm just going to mix some of that orange and cobalt blue for the street here, and then I'm bringing it all the way up into the into where the rocks are, painting over that. Those are the stone walls. That's a little strong, so I'm just taking a towel and wiping it off, and that's giving me a nice color for that stone wall. All right, I'm taking some of the cad orange mixed with the blue, and making it dark, and then I'm painting around the bottom of those rocks. Key here is to keep them different, They look the same there, but I'm going to break those all up. So So I'm going along the bottom, creating a base for those rocks and along the fence here. And then this is a row of dark leaves on the street, so adding some color to it, reds, and now I'm going back into my tree with a very light orange wash. Pay particular attention to the edges, the outside edges of. All right, so I'm using some of that dark orange to create the tops of those rocks, those boulders. All right, so continue working on that tree, putting it on, taking it off, with your towel. Now I'm going to create this other tree on the right. I'm starting with a very dark ultramarine with some quinacridone sienna mixed into it, very dark, and I'm creating a sort of underpainting for all that beautiful, rich color. It's very beautiful. I sped it up here a little bit for you because it's a little tedious watching this painting of the dabbing of the tree, but that's the only way I figured to do it. So you can see how those rich darks mix your red right into there. And I took a credit card here and just scratched out the trunks. They're not too visible in the video, but and then some darks, bringing those branches in. Just keep it going. Don't, make sure you get enough here. A lot of students quit before they really finish a tree, so get enough branches until that thing is really finished. Okay. All right. You might as well fill in these on the sky holes in this tree. I'm using that same dark color to put the branches in, and as I said before, the dark is there's no light getting to the inside of these trees, or very, very little, so it's very dark in there. And what that dark does is it helps create a beautiful depth to your trees. Okay, so you can see you're looking inside this beautiful globe of the tree. And I'm just creating some darks here and there. Some very dark at the bottom of these rocks. The shadow side of that fence. Using a dark orange. Mixing the orange with some blue, will give you a nice darker orange. And that's behind that fence. So it helps that fence to pop. And also creates some nice shadows on the trees. I'm taking it off on that tree. You can see it will finally. All right, we're going to do the tree on the left here. This is just ultramarine blue with cat orange mixed, and I'm just painting in the whole shape, nice and loose and juicy, and then you can add some cat orange to it here and there to create those leaves. Pay, again, particular attention to the edges here. This tree is in front of the other bright orange one, so bring those dark leaves over the branches out in the front of that orange tree. Again, leave sky holes. They're always important. Every tree you do, make sure you leave plenty of sky holes. Boy. Get some darker colors, add some, some ultra with the orange. I'm using my credit card again here to create that in front of the dark tree here, so you can scrape it out and then use some dark color to reshape it and get some leaves coming in front of it, some branches. So we push it back a little bit inside the tree. Mix of cat orange and some of those dark leaves out in front. It really helps. It pushes that orange tree back a little bit and makes the whole scene, gives you some depth in the whole scene. You can see how that rich dark bush on the right is really pushing it out, Adding more cat orange here and there, the orange dries sort of dull, so you got to really push it. Get some bright color in there. All right, I'm bringing those branches out in front of the orange tree. It's coming out of the tree out to the left. All these little things help to create this whole sense of, the bush and the tree. Using some dark color here where there's not, this is the shadow, this is the shadow coming from across the street. Again, just blue and orange. You can use ultra cobalt blue here, and then soften the edges. Shadows generally have nice soft edges, flowing all over the rocks and the leaves on the ground in the street. And what we're really doing here is we're getting rid of the bright street. See how light that street is? We want to dull it down so that your attention goes right to that orange tree. Your eye will go right to light all the time. So we want to bring the value of that street down so that we're focusing in on the tree. All right, finally here, I'm going to add, you've seen me do this many times, I'm just spattering water onto the tree. So pat it first, get rid of the puddles, and then brush it. And you can see it creates a nice texture that you won't get any other way. Okay, the last thing is I'm adding some birds flying. Seems to always be some birds around in the autumn sky. Just add a little touch. Okay, there's the final painting. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will see you again very soon. Keep painting.